Hi, this is Abe Wilson. That ain't even tells it like a TIM. If you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Topic I'm going to talk to you today is about Hard and Hustle Houston, episode 2 and 3. Episode 2 was I wrote it down. The title was The Good, the Bad, and the Fine. And it started off with Alaina asking Josh to come visit her at her at you know, at her makeup lounge called Couture. Now she did say that she had a hairline also, but she closed that down. So now she's just doing the makeup part. But when she did the hair part, she had Josh involved in the business, so she's doing it by herself now. So he showed up at the business, and she said, "How do you like it? How do you like it?" He said, "Oh, I like it. I like the way you design it. I like the aesthetic right here, where you got a big opening right here, and you got a big window right here where people can look out and the sun can come in, and you got the little black and white colors coming up in here. Says, I really like it. I really like it." She said, "Yeah, I want you to come see the place, and I also wanted to get to talk to you alone and stuff like that, and show you what I was doing with the business." He said, "Okay, okay." And then she said, "Josh, well, yes, I know that we've been going through some stuff and stuff like that, and I think we should go to couples therapy." He said, "Couples therapy?" He said, "Well," and then I saw his look on his face, and then Elena was saying in confession that if Josh wants their marriage to work, he's gonna have to come on and do his part. And I said, "You sure about that, Elena?" And then she said, "Well, the reason why I said that because I mentioned to the girls about we were having a few problems, and one of them suggested that maybe we need to go to the couples therapy. So that's why I mentioned couples therapy." And he was kind of shocked and taken aback. He said, "You talking to the girls about our personal business, about our problems and stuff?" She said, "Well, they were kind of wondering since I didn't have my wedding ring on, and I told them I don't wear my wedding ring out to openings and stuff. I keep that at home." He said, "Yeah, that's fine and good and stuff like that." He said, but sometimes you don't need to tell those girls all the stuff." And he said, "Yeah, by the way, one of the ladies, one of the ladies at the opening of Latoria's restaurant, one of the ladies said that you wasn't fine." And I was upset with her. I said, "What?" He said, "I don't care what them ladies say. Don't be telling me nothing them ladies say. I don't care what them ladies say. I don't care what they think about me and stuff like that." She said, "Yeah, that's why I told her I thought that was very rude of Chloe to say that about you because she don't know you." He said, "She sure don't know me." And then he said, she said, "Back to the thing at hand, the point at hand, do you want us to go to couple therapy?" He said, "Well, you got your issues, I got my issues. We both got our own separate issues to work with. So I think we should have separate counseling." Say separate counseling. He said, "But ain't we trying to work on our marriage, do stuff?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "But this stuff, you said stuff that you need to work on by yourself. So I need to work on." I said, "Josh, that's just an excuse. You really don't want to go to couples therapy. You want her to go to couples therapy because you are already thinking that most of the problems is with her and not with you." I said, "They're right. Both of y'all need to go do the couples therapy." So it switched to the next scene, and the next scene was Ro in our kitchen, and she was talking, and she was also talking to I think she was talking to I think Ro was talking to she was talking I think she was talking to Latoria, somebody on the phone, and stuff like that. And they was asking how she was asking how everything went, and she was saying everything went fine to her, but she said seemed like Elena had a little problem with you. No, she was talking to Chloe. Yeah, yeah. Rose was talking to Chloe on the phone. That's right. And she said seemed like she had a little problem with you saying that Josh wasn't fine. And Chloe said to Rose, Josh ain't fine." So what she talking about? She said she had a little problem because she talked to not only with me, but she talked over with Latoria, and she said that you can't get the type of man you can't get the type of man that she can get. And she said, oh, she said that. She said, what type of man she think I want? I don't want no Jocelyn type of man. And she said, yeah, me and you are on the same page. She said, yeah, I know we're on the same page. So they kind of switched to the next scene. And then the next scene was uh, well, let me pause this and get some water. In fact, the next scene was Ro talking to her daughter, Sophie, and she was saying, "How are you?" She went outside to play basketball. We said, "How are you doing?" She said, "I'm doing all right. I'm doing better." She said, "Are those girls still messing with you at school?" She said, "Now, after we had that meeting, everything's okay with me and the girls." And then and then Rose said in a confessional that they better be glad that she changed because she had her old street ways. She'd be up there beating up them girls, and I was say, oh yeah, I remember there was when some parents used to come up to the school and get mad because their children could get mad because their children was something was happening to their children were coming to school to fight. I know it was a family friend we had like that. Every time somebody with her daughter, she was coming up to that school. But anyway, back to the subject, and she was saying, yeah, them girls were trying to mess with her daughter, some little boy. And she was saying, at the age they are, they're not used to be looking at and talk about no boy. I said, you ain't never lied about that, Rose. And Rose said, well, I'm glad everything got settled out, and with you and those girls, you and those girls after those meetings and stuff like this. Said, come on, let's just throw one more ball. And she throw one more ball and hoop and level and switch to the next scene. And the next scene was Noreen telling Norman that I don't know why last episode I called him William, but William is La Brea's husband. But anyway, she said, Norman, by you working so much and then by me working so much with the kids and doing my influence and stuff, we don't get a chance to go out much like we used to. We don't get a chance to go. We don't get a chance to date and stuff. He said, she said, I want to set up a date night for us. Date night me up. He said, well, yeah, that's fine, and then that's well, just let me know what night it is, so that way we can get our schedules together. She said, okay. And next thing you know, they showed the scene when they was going to the cooking class, and they were saying, "Oh yeah, this is famous cooking school in Houston." I didn't even know about that and stuff like that. So they went to the cooking school, and he said, when the lady introduced herself, she said, "Oh yeah, you and your wife want to learn how to cook?" Norman said, "I already know how to cook. Uh, 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 Maybe my wife could get some tips from you because she really don't like to cook." She said, "Well, yeah, I do cook, but I cook on certain time." He said, "Yeah, this time you might cook a good meal." And she said, "Oh, you already do?" I said, "Don't do that, don't do that." I said, "No, I don't do that." But he was trying to throw a little shade on the cooking. And so the woman helped her cook, the woman kind of helped her prep up, she kind of cut some of the vegetables up and while she did her salmon or whatever she did. And then she said, "Oh, the stuff is ready." And so they went and sat down to eat and they cooked. And he said, "Ooh, this tastes much better than what I thought. Maybe you need to start coming to this cooking class all the time because this food tastes much better than what I tasted at first." She said, "Oh, be quiet, Norman." He said, "Norman, we really need to talk." And he said, "What we need to talk about?" She said, "I know you and my mama don't get along too much and stuff like that. And I'm tired of being caught in the middle, tired of being caught in the middle." He said, "Well," I try to do the best I can with your mom. I try to kind of, try to kind of stay out of her way and do this and do that." She said, "But now, since my mom is living in the house with us, y'all gonna have to interact, and I have to be the one to be in between because she really don't want to have too much to say to you, and you really want to have too much to say to her, and we can't be doing that in the house. She's gonna be living with us." He said, "Well, like I said, I try to stay out of my way. I try to stay out of my way so that way I won't be causing any kind of problems or conflict and stuff." She said, "But that's my mom." He said, "Okay." He said, "Okay, brother." He said, "Okay, I'll try to do a little better." She said, "Well, yeah, I want you and my mom to go on a date." He said, "Date?" I said, "Well, all three of us, me, you, and my mom, go on a date." He said, "Huh? What? You really want us to go on a date like that?" And she said, "Yeah." Yeah, he said, "Yeah." He said, "I don't know. I'll think about it." And they switched to the next scene. And the next scene was Chloe talking to her twin daughter, talking to her twin's daughter, Nora and Noah. And so she was saying, I want to go and pay respects to your. I want to go and pay respects to your father, and also his family going to be there too. We're going to lay some more flowers on his grave. But y'all like to go? And the twins girl said, "Yeah, yeah, we want to go." She said, "What about Nico?" She said, "Nico not here right now, but I'll ask Nico." And so next thing you know, they showed her driving, and she was saying that her and her husband had been together 7 years, and they had lived together, off and on for 7 years. And she was saying they had got married they had got married 2 years later, and then her husband had a heart attack and died. That was in 2021. I said, "Oh, that sure was bad." After 2 years after they got married, and so they went to the thing, and she would say she still think about it. And then so she introduced her daughters, her twin daughters, to the rest of his family, and they all put flowers on the side of the grave. And while they was doing that, she called Nico, said, "Nico, you coming?" Because some of the family are here and they asking, looking about you. "No, I ain't coming." He said, "Why you ain't coming?" "I just ain't coming. I got something to do." And he said, "Oh, okay." And I'm looking at you ain't got nothing to do. You just didn't want to go to no gravesite. Just say you didn't want to go to the gravesite, Nico, and stuff like that. I don't know if Nico thought that man was going to be there or not, but he wasn't. And so you could tell Chloe was kind of sad about that because she wanted all her children to come there. And then switch to the next scene. And then the next scene after that was Ro going to the therapist, and she was telling the therapist that she really like going to no therapist, but she said I think she said it was Latoria who had told her, but I think she said it was Latoria or either La Brea one told her about the therapist that they go to. And so she said, "Oh, yeah, I'm glad she referred to me." She said, "Yeah, I'm used to just keeping stuff in." That's what Rose said. "I'm used to keeping stuff in. I ain't used to talking to people about my problems, about my stuff, because I don't want to be weighing people down." I feel like that too. When I have something, I'll say something here and there to a family member, but I try to keep it to myself like she does. Anyway, but anyway, she said, "Yeah, I'm trying to change my image and stuff." She said, "But some people still think I'm rough around the edges or rough or something because I'm tall, because I'm real tall and stuff and stuff." And I was saying, "Yeah, they looking at you tall and you look kind of rough and kind of manly on the side too." But anyway, she said she ain't used to, but she said after she talked, she said, "I feel a little bit better after I talked to you." She said, "So are you nervous?" She said, "Yeah, I'm a little nervous because I ain't never talked to nobody like this, talk to nobody like that." She said, "Okay." She said, "What other problems?" She said, "All the stuff that I've been through, on all the years and stuff that I went through and stuff. Being a single mom and then trying to work 2 jobs and trying to own my own business stuff, that they get started tiring." She said, "Well, I'm glad you decided to come to me." She said, "Because don't you know you're the first representation of your daughter. And if she see you hurting or acting some kind of way, she gonna feel that way." She said, "Yeah, that's why I try not to. That's why I try not to do that. Keep stepping aside." She said, "Oh, it was nice talking to you." She said, "It was nice talking to you too." And she was saying, she gonna try to, because she was saying that she don't like to be around fake people. That's what Rose said. She was saying, "Well, Rose, what I want you to do, I want you to do a 10-day thing, find something that each of the ladies that you have in common with each of the ladies, and get back to me." Because she was saying some of the ladies think that they can't say stuff around her and stuff like that. She said she don't want to be like that. So let's switch to the next scene. And the next scene, La Brea La Brea talking to Noreen on the phone or Skype, and she was saying, "Yeah, I want to set up a girl group thing at the spa." She said, I want us to set up at the spa, but before I invite some of the ladies to my new spa, since I'm remodeling and doing a whole lot of stuff." And she was saying, "Yeah." And then Marie said, "Well, who are you going to invite, little Brea?" She said, "I'm going to invite you. I'm going to invite Victoria, and I'm going to invite Ro." She said, what about Chloe and she said, "What about Chloe and Alaina?" She said, "No, I don't want that type of energy in my thing. I'm not inviting them." He said, "Oh, okay." And then switch to the next scene, and the next scene was the last scene, which was with Maureen, and Maureen was telling her mom that she had told she had told she had told Norman on their cooking day that she wanted all three of them to go on a date together. She said, "Huh? Really going on a date?" She said, "But mom, you gotta want to go on a date because I want you and Norman to settle out your differences, so I won't be in the middle if you're gonna be staying with us." She said, "Well, I was only supposed to stay with y'all for temporary." She said, "But I really want to go back home. I live in India, and I like living. I like living in India. I like stuff in India, so I'm going." That's when I said, "Oh, okay." So she mixed race. She mama Indian and daddy black. She talking about Indian and going. I'm saying, if you want to go back to India so bad, you should have been left. Why you say you just came there to visit your daughter and stuff? And that was the end of episode 1. I'm going to pause this video and start on episode 2. I'm going to pause this video and start episode 3 in a few minutes. I'm back. Episode 3, left off with, like I said, with Chloe and Rose talking about what Elena didn't like at the event and stuff like that. I'm not going to go too much on that because I already mentioned in the last episode. And the next scene was La Brea was La Brea. Like I said on the last scene, La Brea had set up a thing where the girls were going to the spa, and like I said, she invited Noreen, and she invited Ro and Latoria and herself. And they all said, "Oh, this is a nice party. We like the way you redid it. We like the way you redid how you did it." So, "Oh, look nice, look nice." So, "Yeah, let's go into the spa room. Let's go into the spa room and talk." So they all went to the spa room and talked. And then La Brea said, "Latoria, how was your date with Devin?" She said, "Oh, we didn't go on no date." She said, "Huh? Y'all didn't go on a date?" She said, "Nah, me and Devin didn't go on a date." She said, "I called Devin, but he was real busy, and then I was real busy at the time and stuff like that." And the reason said, "Well, he couldn't make some time for you." She said, "Yeah." And then La Brea said, "Call him right now. Call him." She said, "Huh, call him right now." She said, "Yeah, call him right now." So she called him. She said, "Devin, I want to know your schedule." And said, "We have some time. I think maybe I could have some time, and maybe we could go on a date next this Saturday." He said, right off the bat, "No, I got something to do." She said, She said, I'm sorry, you got something to do." He said, "Yeah, I got something to do. Maybe next Saturday." She said, "Oh, next Saturday." He said, "Well, let me see." She said, "Let me see." She said, "Let me know a couple of days ahead of time if you still gonna come on a date, and that way I can make my schedule out." He said, "Okay." We got off the phone. When he got off the phone, all the ladies looking funny like she didn't even give her a chance to he didn't even give her a chance to say, "I had something up there first. I got something up. I got something up." And the ladies were looking funny, and they were saying, "Well, it looked like he don't want to be with you," or stuff like that. And then I think it was either Noreen or either La Brea said, "Latoria, when the last time you had stuff?" And she said, "Huh?" And that's been 3 years. Say 3 years. She said, "Yeah." She said, I'm really studying virginity and she said virginity and celibacy." And she said, "Huh? What?" And then Noreen said, "Ooh, that's been a long, long time, long, long time." And then Rose said, "Yeah." And then the confessional, Rose said, "Yeah, I know that stuff. I know that stuff must be mighty dull down there or something." And she said, and she said, "What's going on, Victoria?" Like I said, I'm a church girl, and I don't talk about stuff like this. I don't talk about stuff like this in public. Let's go to the next step. They want to go to the next step, and I'm looking at Latoria. You ain't gonna be able to go on no date with nobody because a lot of these men are not in the church, and even if these men are in the church, sooner or later, they're gonna want to ask you that question. And so, if you trying to get married, that's one of the prerequisites. We already know that. And so she kept talking about she was a church girl, and she didn't want to talk about it. And then Rose said, "Well, you look at me funny, Latoria. You making me feel uncomfortable." She said, "Well, I ain't trying to make nobody feel uncomfortable. I'm just telling you, I just don't like to talk about that. Just because you like to openly talk about your situation." She said, "No, I don't like to openly talk about nothing." She said, I just felt that since we were out talking about it, we should talk about it." And then what you call got all upset, Latoria. And then it switched to the next scene. And then the next scene was The next scene was Ro coming to visit Chloe at her house, and Chloe said, "Come on, welcome in, welcome in, come on in, come on in." And Chloe said, "Yeah, I heard that you went to the spa and y'all had a spa day without me." And I was saying, "What's going on? Why you have a spa day with me?" She said, "What it was, LaBria said she wasn't going to invite you or Alaina because she didn't want that energy in that spa." I said, "What kind of energy?" She said, "That negative energy." She said, "I don't bring on that energy." She said she looked at what you and Alaina did at Latoria's event and she didn't want that in her spa. She said, "It wasn't me. It was really Alaina who was the one who had the problem." She said, "Yeah, Alaina problem." She said, "I also had a problem." I said, "What kind of problem you had, bro?" And Rose was telling her, she said, "Yeah, we had called Latoria and asked Latoria about her date with Devin. She said they didn't have no date. And then when she called him, he told me he was too busy to have a date." She said, "Huh? A man too busy to have a date with her? What's going on with her?" That's what Chloe was saying. And then La Brea and then Rose said, "I don't know, but what it is, she made me feel uncomfortable because we was asking her when's the last time she did the such and such." She talking about been 3 years to me. 3 years. Oh, that's been a long time. And what Chloe said, it wasn't everybody said, but Latoya got upset talking about she's a church girl. And then Rose said in her confession, more like she had a little devil in her. And then it switched to the next scene. And I'm going to skip to the end because this video is already long. The end was a crab boil, and what it was, they asked Chloe was she going to bring her new man to the crab boil. He brought a new man, and everybody said, "Ooh, Jordan looked real good." And then Chloe said in her confession, "Yeah, everybody know my man is handsome. Everybody was looking at him, cool married woman. I got to looking. I said, he don't look no better than Josh. He just a little bit younger than Josh, but he don't look no better than Josh." And I said, "I don't know why she talking about she got a good man and going crazy." And then LaBrea tried to tell him what was her intentions, and he said we do want to marry Chloe later on up in the year, but right now they trying to figure things out in the show ending. I liked that episode 2 and 3 of Hustle in Houston. Like I said, I'm really liking the show. That's all I have for this video. This is A. Wesley. That ain't even tells it like a TI is. I am out.